Looks good. It looks like he's got some fresh horseradish here. Whew, that's fresh. Anyways, so wow, look at that view.
Now, if anybody doesn't realize, Noel Amelia is part of our crew tonight, and he is going to be fed very well tonight. So I hope everybody understands. He's going to probably put on another 20 pounds tonight. So see him tomorrow. He'll be a different man.
I work for food, Chef.
Perfect. So we're going to be pairing that with the Schramsberg Blanc de Blanc. This is made from 100% white grapes, which is the Blanc. The first part of Blanc de Blanc is white. De Blanc in Spanish or in Italian would be of white, so white wine from white grapes, essentially. So let's give that a taste. Let's make sure it works. Chef, you want to give it a try? If it doesn't work, there's no point. So,
Shuck it.
There's the shuck it, bud.
Oh yeah, really good.
That's a lovely pairing there. Raisin champagne always works, or bubbly wine always works with oysters. It's, you know, champagne from Champagne actually has a sort of salinity to it, almost a saltiness to it. You know, it's grown on 100% chalk, which actually comes into the wine in a weird way. That was really good. I really like that pairing. Chef did a great job too. Again, fresh horseradish really makes a difference. But anyways, it's more of a textural difference. You know, you have the oyster, which is, it's got kind of a, not a sap to it, but almost like a syrupy juice. That's not really syrup. It's got that salinity to it. It's very clean and crisp. But anyways, the champagne clears your palate, gets you ready for the next bite, gets you ready for the next oyster. Here, Noah, don't make sure you eat. Cheers, everyone. We'll try that pairing again. Champagne and oysters, always good.
All right, we're going to jump into the next item we're going to be doing. I wanted to think of a fresh salad that we could do for today. And first thing that came to mind was strawberries. What goes well with strawberries? Burrata. What goes well with burrata? Basil, sweetness. So we're going to do a little strawberry and burrata salad with some, we got some arugula, spinach, bay leaf, and Bibb salad. We got some candied walnuts going in, and a basil vinaigrette. We're going to top it off with a little bit of balsamic reduction, and we're going to move on to the next one. And Albert's got a little pairing with that also. He's going to talk a little bit that. If you guys want to see how I'm plating the dish, maybe we could plate it. Absolutely. And then talk about a comparison of some wines and go from there.
All right. Wow. Sounds great, right? So
right here I've got some red leaf Bibb lettuce. I'm going to throw in a little bit of spinach and some arugula. I've got a basil vinaigrette. Now, basil vinaigrettes, they're very easy to make. Two types of vinaigrettes. I made one with no binder. So all it is just basil, a little bit of rice wine vinegar, and I start blending it in the blender real quick. Added a little bit of sugar and some garlic, and then slowly drizzled in some olive oil. The basil's got a lot of color in it, so it's going to turn it green. So that's the vinaigrette right here. I'm going to whisk it up because it's separated. We're going to toss the greens real quick. Okay. I'm going to mix it. We are going to plate on this one because I just messed that one up. Okay. Everybody know what burrata is? It's a creamier mozzarella. Got a lot of flavor, really creamy. All we're going to do is break some apart. Plate that right there. Take a little bit more apart. Plate that right there. fresh strawberries. I tried these earlier, me and Albert, while we were having a glass of champagne. Really sweet right now, in season. Just gonna plop a couple of these puppies on there. One of the things I think this salad needed was some shaved red onions, paper thin. If you look at these, they're really paper thin. You don't need a lot of onion in there to make the flavor of the onion come out. So just really paper thin. Kind of dress those right there. Put those on top.
It's a good looking salad so far.
Candied walnuts. We candy these here. You guys probably taste these in the arugula salad that we have here at the club. A little bit right there. And then a little bit of color. And then I am going to take some of the dressing, garnish the plate a little bit with some of that. Get it all over some of the ingredients there to kind of blend in. I've got some balsamic reduction that we reduce here in the house. You see how thick that balsamic vinegar is? I'm not sure if you guys can see that. But just plate a little bit of that on there. Just kind of let it go wherever it wants to. And then one of the fun things, I know everybody loves the raisin bread here at the club. Any leftover bread that we have here at the club, we freeze it down a little bit. We take it to a slicer and butter it, and we slice it almost paper thin. We slice it paper thin, and it becomes a little toast, which I think would add a lot of little flavor that we're going to put there. And that's kind of our strawberry burrata salad.
Perfect. Is that one said and done? That looks gorgeous, man. Good work.
Strawberry burrata salad.
So let's do a close-up shot here. A little spin around there.
Talk about the wine, maybe.
Perfect. So a little bit about the salad, right? So we know there's a vinaigrette in there. We know it's got a couple of components, right? Burrata's a little bit fattier. The strawberry adds a little sweetness to it. The onion actually adds a freshness when it's cut paper thin. It's not overwhelming and almost like spiciness to it. And the candied walnuts adds that nuttiness to it, but a little bit of sweet. Kind of complements out or complements with the strawberry in there as well. So first thing you should always do with any salad, or I guess it's more the dressing. See, when we pair food, we don't really pair. We do pair the protein, yes, but the first thing we should pair is the sauce, the dressing, whatever comes with the food. So you should always taste the vinaigrette. See how acidic is it? Is it super acidic? Is it not as acidic as you thought it'd be? Wow. Dude, that is really good. That's fantastic. But that vinegar, yeah. Ooh. Wow, that's got a ton of acid. But vinaigrettes have some vinegar in there. They have that high acid component to it. So you can go one of two ways, right? You need a wine that will match that acidity, something with high acid as well. You do a Sauvignon Blanc, or you can do a Riesling. Now, when I say Riesling, not really the sweet Rieslings that you'd get at Trader Joe's for $7. It'd be one of those dry Rieslings that you kind of get for $10 at Trader Joe's. Again, still very very price friendly wine. I might have it with the Riesling just because that has such high acidity. And when you pair food, you got to think about acidity, right? So this dish has extremely high acidity. If my wine does not have higher acidity, it's going to make the wine taste really flabby. It's kind of like if you've ever had, a really sweet strawberry and then a not so sweet blueberry. It makes the blueberry taste almost really tart. It gives you that perception. So anyways, screw caps are some of my favorites. They're health conscious and whatnot. We're going to try with the Riesling, see if it works. If it doesn't, we have a Sauvignon Blanc that we'll try as well. Wow, that's gorgeous, son. So, you want to try it together, Chef? Yeah. Nice. So, Chef and I, we're going to try it.
I need a chef's pour, not a tasting
So this
pour.
has, so this is Dr. Lucin or Dr. Lausen. That's how it's pronounced over there. Anyways, it's got just a touch of sugar. It's a cabinet, which means not a Cabernet, a cabinet. It's a different kind of sugar ripeness thing. Long story short, it's got a hint of sugar. It's not going to kill anyone, but it's a very good wine. And I like it. I mean, if Chef doesn't like it, I'll have his portion. But we'll look. Anyway, let's try it out, Chef. See, and you know, chef salads are great. You really want to get a little bit of every component in there. A little bit of fat, a little bit of acid. You know, big old strawberry, some walnut maybe. Over here splashing Noel. Sorry, Noel.
I think when you're trying this, don't be shy just to take just a small bite, main components, and taste the wine with it. Not a big sip, but just something that you need to compare it to. Really good. Very good.
That's really nice.
All right.
Nice.
So I've had a lot of requests from members to share the steamed clams recipe. Very simple recipe that we're going to do today, but it's some steps that need to be followed to make sure that it comes out the way it needs to. And what we've got is I have a chili. Everybody knows they're a little spicy, so we got a chili and garlic mixture. We've got fresh clams, butter, of course, butter, lots of it, and lemons. I've taken and made a Gremolata out of these lemons. And a Gremolata is just really a lemon and parsley mixture that we're going to top it off with. Okay? Clam juice. The recipe was posted today. Clam juice, white wine, very simple. But there's a trick to it. So I've got a warm pan going over here. We are going to add a little bit of olive oil. We're going to turn the heat down. It doesn't need to be. That's a smoke point right there. Okay? Smoke point. You're going to learn a little bit more about this when we sear the Kobe steak later on. So we're going to add the chili garlic. Stand back because that chili will get you coughing. And the thing that I'm mostly concerned about, add a little bit more. Be patient with it. Low heat. I'm looking to brown the garlic. That is the main key in this recipe. Brown the garlic before you do anything else. Be patient with it. Heat's a little low. Got a hot pan, but slowly cook that garlic. Turn the pan around, saute it, let it cook. Be patient with it. I'm sure I've said that 20 times already. So, but as you can see in the pan right now, you're starting to see the garlic turn. And what happens to it, it starts to come into like a little paste and clusters. That's when you know all the flavor, all the garlic is sticking together. Perfect. Right? And you're also cooking the chilies. You're getting a little bit of chili heat in there. That's kind of what makes them spicy. We're going to sit there. And as you can see, a lot of the garlic starting to turn golden brown. And that's what you want. If you get it too hot, the garlic starts to burn and it starts to bitter all your sauce. So what we're going to do now, we're going to deglaze it with a little bit of white wine. clams. Clams. Saute them up. Another key ingredient in this is some clam juice. We're going to add some clam juice in there. Turn the heat up. Let these babies steam off. Okay? And this is how I steam them in the kitchen. All I do is just put another pan right on top of them. That's how we'll steam them. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for this, we're also going to garnish the clams off with some grilled bread. And I'm going to show you what I got over here. So I like to use thick cut bread. Here's what we got. I've got a little olive oil on top of them already, pre-done. Just brush them a little bit more. Both sides. Okay. We're going to sear those on the broiler. You want them to be charred. The charredness of the bread actually adds a lot of flavor to the clams. So this is going to take a little bit of sec. If Albert, you want to talk a little bit about the wine that we're going to pair it real quick and keep it on here?
Yeah, absolutely. So anyways, oh dude, that's hot. Sorry everyone. Well, you know, grills are there and whatnot. Anyways, when you're pairing anything that has heat to it, some kind of spice, the best thing you can do, or actually let's talk about the worst thing. The worst thing you can do is pair it with something with high tannin. Avoid all red wine if you're pairing a spicy dish. Maybe if it has light spice, you can, you know, maybe you can have something that's a lighter style red, but absolutely no tannin. It just makes the heat 10 times worse. The best trick you can really do with hot or spicy food, not hot food, you know, blah, blah. Anyways, spicy food, the best thing that goes with it is sugar, sweet, something with residual sugar in it. See, and maybe Chef could talk a little bit more about this, but spice, right, isn't considered one of the 5 flavors, Chef? Yeah. He said yes. I know he's a little far. Anyway, it's an astringency. It's a feeling that you get on your palate. It's not really a flavor. It's stringency. It's bad. It's not great. You know, it's a defense mechanism for the actual chili. So the best thing you can really do to nurture your palate, have something sweet, you know. That's why, you know, I'm from a Spanish background. My parents were born in Mexico. But that's why horchata is such an important thing in the Mexican world, right? You know, it's that hot with that sweet, refreshing. It's also got a ton of calcium. Calcium really coats the top. Anyways, what you want to do is get a wine that has some sugar to it. It could be red or white, but it has to have sugar. And I actually have the Dr. Lucen again, because Dr. Lucen has a touch of sugar. It's not overwhelming, but it's still very present, which means it works really well. So Chef's got his charred bread. Charred bread. Beautiful. I love it. Sweet wine. Pair it with sweet wine. Do a Riesling. Trust me, it's delicious. Nice. But yeah, that's what I would pair with this dish, Chef. Dr. Lucen Riesling. I like Dr. Lucen. He's one of the older houses. You know, founded back in like the 1500s, 1600s, something like that. Whatever the case is. So Chef just said that we're getting pretty close. As we remember, he's steaming the clams right now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a whole lot more to say.
So as you see the bread right now, just getting some char marks on it. That's really all it is. It's going to go really well with the clams. So I'm going to put these off to the side right now. We're going to walk down here to the clams. And as you see, they're all starting to open. Okay? A lot of clams there. They're ready to roll. Now, I'm going to throw in here, I know the recipe calls for about a ½ pound of butter, but you got to kind of use your judgment. All you're looking for right here is the butter is to thicken the sauce and to add a lot of flavor. So, soft butter, I'm going to start throwing that in there. I'm going to gradually just shake it a little bit. Let that butter emulsify in. You're almost making an emulsification, beurre blanc almost.
It was a little foggy. Sorry, guys. We're dealing with some heat here, so you might notice some fog. Our apologies.
First time.
Nice. What are you doing there, Chef? Adding some more
Just
butter?
adding some more butter. You just want it to kind of thicken up. And as we are speaking, as I'm thickening up the clams, we're also starting our next dish. And this is pork gel guanciale. We're going to be making pasta carbonara.
Nice.
So I'm just slowly rendering it right now. All right. I think it needs some more butter. A little more butter. Just slowly let that stuff melt in that sauce. We are going to have a plate right here. You probably focus on this a little bit right now.
Absolutely. Chef uses a bit of a coupe dish. It's got some depth to it. It's a little shallow, but you know, some depth. Who else giggling at us? Oh, Jesus. Beautiful.
Here you go. A lot of sauce. Stack those clams on top. A lot of broth. All that from there. Gremolata. Gremolata is a mixture of lemon zest and parsley. And we are just going to douse that in there.
That smells great. Nice and fresh.
Yeah. Smells really good. Fresh squeeze of lemon on there. And we're going to garnish it with the bread. You'll need a lot of bread like this, so don't ever prep. You can never prep too much of this bread. You're going to dip it in the broth, and it is going to be probably better than the clams themselves. Really. I mean, the broth and the bread go really well, but the clams, nice and hot. Little bread dipped in there. A little bit of spice in there. Garlic, you can taste it. The garlic was brown. That right there is delicious. Awesome.
It does look like a good dish, Chef. Beautiful. Alrighty. So again, we talked about pairing. Again, anything with heat, you want to give it some sugar. If you don't give it the sugar, you get all that astringent. Again, I like to pair with the sauce. Sort of like 90% of the other people, but some people pair with the protein. There's no right or wrong way. It's whatever the person likes. But let's try the sauce. Good. That's delicious. But you got a lot of that heat coming through.
It's a little bit spicy, but that's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. But again, something with some residual sugar to it, with some sweetness to it. It'll coat your palate, get you ready for the next bite.
That sauce and bread is delicious.
That's really nice. Nice. And make sure the bread is okay. You can never tell. You're gonna find out though.
That is beautiful. That works. A little spicy for you, huh?
Perfect. Spicy food, sweet wine. Alrighty, Chef. What do we have coming up?
All right. So we're moving into the pasta carbonara. All right.
Beautiful.
Right now, I've got some guanciale rendering. Guanciale is a pork gel, pork cheek from a pig. Smoked, really fatty. Bacon will work, not a problem. Traditionally, done with a guanciale. I've also got spaghetti dropped. Okay. Got some spaghetti going in here. Now, when you cook spaghetti, you guys ever go swimming in the ocean? Your water needs to taste like that. So if it's overly salty when you're cooking pasta, not a problem. That's what you want. Just cooking that, rendering the pork. You don't want to get it too crispy. You just want to render it, get all the flavor in there. And then in the meantime, we're going to slay.
So you said 2 eggs, Chef?
2 eggs. And some yolks. I'm going to do 3. Okay. We're going to whisk all this up. This is going to be our sauce. We're going to grate some Reggiano cheese in there. Don't be shy with it. We're also going to use some for the top. I need to grate my oven now. So, eggs and cheese, that's all we got in here right now. As the bacon's cooking, starting to get a little bit crispy. Oh, yeah. That's all you got. We're going to set that off to the side. The only thing now is we're waiting for the spaghetti to cook. Got a couple minutes.
Couple minutes?
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, we can talk about some pairings with that. Absolutely, yeah, of course. Carbonara. Anyways, this is the dish with it's very rich. With dishes that are very rich, you can be rich in a couple of different ways. This one's rich in kind of a creaminess, almost a heavy, I hate to say a fattiness, but it does have a fattiness to it. It's very full bodied. And when you pair wine and food, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can compare or contrast. You know, we learned it in school, compare and contrast. Contrast means they're complete opposites, right? It says, let's see here. David James to everyone. Oh, yeah, he's got it. Compare and contrast, right? So what we'll do here is we'll compare. See, contrasting is you know, that spicy with the sugar, right? They're opposites, but they work really well together. Sweet and salty, right? Foie gras and sauterne, everyone's had that. It's kind of rich with rich. That's comparative, not really salty and sweet, but you kind of get the gist of it. Anyways, one of 2 ways with this, right? You can go something that's very full to match that richness in the actual carbonara, or you can go something that has some weight to it, but more acidity to cut through the fat, through the richness of it all. So I have 2 wines here. I thought both would work. And you can kind of find these at just about any store. If you go to, you know, the Ferry Building, I know Debbie does an awesome job over there. She didn't pay me to say that. She's just pretty awesome.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, right?
I'll give you a couple bottles of free wine.
I wish she had. But Climante Couchant, this is a Bacigalupi Vineyard 2014. But anyways, it's seen some time in the bottle. 2014, 6 years old. It doesn't mean it's bad. A lot of California Chardonnay does go bad after a couple of years, but this is actually one of our members' wine. Elaine, he's a cool guy. He's from France, I believe, and whatever the case is, he does a great job. It's got really nice acidity, but it's got that creaminess to it. It's very full. It's got a lot of weight to it. The second one is Jackie Blow, Domaine de la Telly à l'Eau. You can probably find this at Verve. You can also find it at the Ferry Shop building if you're over that way, but Verve is up Fillmore. I go there.
What's the last name of it?
Jackie Blow? Oh, Blot if you're French, I guess, or if you're not French. But Domaine de la Tellier and I could send something out. It doesn't matter. But 2016, pretty good vintage for them. But this has a ton of acidity to it because it's very cold there and they grow it and it faces south and blah, blah. But let's try both of them now. But when you pair wine, you go one of two ways, right? You can go comparative, very full, meets the richness of the dish. It complements it, right? Comparative. And then contrasting, something with high acidity to it. Now, when you talk about high acidity, think about eating an underripe grape. Yeah, it tastes very tart, or underripe blueberry, very tart. Kind of underripe fruit. It's wonderful. I have some more. It changed. Let's see. By the way, fair building, very quiet these days. Very easy to get great food. That's good to know. Chris Ray, is that C Ray? I got C Ray on mine. I hope it's you, Mr. Ray. Good to see you. Kim Jones, if you're out there. All I see is one screen. I'm sorry. The chef's messing with the spaghetti right now for the carbonara. Chef, do you want to try each of these wines with me? Let me know what you think. We're gonna have Chef try them. See which one he prefers, and then we'll pair that with the actual dish. So, on the right, the Jackie Blow. This is Domaine de la Tellier, Le Hats de Housseau. It's from Touraine. It's in Loire Valley, and what they do there really well is they do whites. Sancerre is from the Loire Valley. I know everyone's heard of Sancerre a little bit. And if you haven't, I hope you try it out one of these days. So again, lighter style, fuller style. Lighter, fuller. Here. That's lovely. That's lovely too. That one there. All right. Perfect. So Chef chose the Loire Valley, the Jackie Blow, Domaine de la Tellier. So we'll be pairing that with it in a kind of contrasting style. Really, really nice. I haven't even had them yet. They smell great. Let's see. This is making me thirsty. Oh man, Mr. Eamon, I agree. Shots all around. We'll drink some water.
Double shots for me.
Oh, dude. Oh man, I've seen your shots. I've considered drinks. Debbie C will take your orders. Oh yeah, really? Huh. I hit up Debbie. See how she's doing. Great wine shop. If you've never been, she's got something from everywhere in the country or in the world. I'm sorry. Can't speak to me. Does anyone have any questions for Chef while the spaghetti, becomes more approachable? That is great. Oh, nice. I think we're back in action, team. Chef's a pretty strong guy, so holy pork chop. True. Got some great ones from there 2 days ago. Oh, nice. That ferry building. Nice. Nice. All right, Chef, are you ready for us? Yep. All righty. We're back in action, team.
So, we got our egg mixture.
Got the egg mixture.
We have got our...
Oh, Chef, we got a question real quick. I'm so sorry, everyone. How can Chef tell when pasta is done without tasting it?
I've been tasting it.
Oh, you have? Oh, he said he's been tasting it. For Chef, does he save any pasta water? Do you save any pasta water?
Yeah, you save some pasta water. You can use the pasta water to help thin the sauce out also. Add to your sauces all the time. Usually we have a pasta water going back here, so they're always going into our pastas constantly. And you can thin sauces out. You can add flavor to sauces. Yes, use pasta water to work with your sauces. Big fan of that.
All righty, Chef. So tell us what you're doing now. Sorry.
I got a little bit of pasta water in here along with the spaghetti.
Okay.
We're going to take the hot spaghetti, throw a little bit on there. We're going to toss this up. Don't let it get too hot because we're going to have to work real quick with eggs. You don't want them to scramble, all right?
Oh, that smells great.
So you want all that that fat in there. Toss your eggs in there, cheese. Get it working. I like to throw some parsley in there also. I'm gonna throw some parsley in there, herbs, basil. Keep working that egg so it doesn't scramble. Okay, we're gonna come over here. Light some of that on.
Oh.
Then top it off with a little bit more cheese. Reggiano is what I'm using. Pasta carbonara.
Nice.
Woo. This stuff is, oh, one more thing. One more thing I need to add to it. Some fresh cracked pepper.
So we got a question, Chef, from Mrs. Livingston, I believe. Something about cream. Let me pull it up.
No cream.
No cream, he
No
said.
cream. Traditionally, the sauce was never made with cream.
Yeah, so she was asking. I always thought carbonara had cream.
No.
It's just the egg, the
It's just
Reggiano,
the
then,
egg and the egg yolk. That's
along
it.
with sauteed.
Traditionally, yeah, you could throw some cream in there. You could make that sauce. If you add the cream and the egg yolks together, I think traditionally in French terms it's called a liaison. That's the sauce. But not pasta carbonara. No cream in there. The egg yolk is the sauce.
Good question, Mrs. Livingston. So I think the moment we have all been waiting for. We're going to try this. Oh, what did
Put
you
a little
garnish it?
basil on there.
Mmm. Yeah.
We got time to do the New York, or are we going to be done?
We got time to do the York. Try it out.
All right.
Make sure this is up to par. I'm sure it is, Chef. Wow, creamy. Really well done. Maybe I'll tell you, Luke, Chenin Blanc, 100%. That bright acidity cuts through all that richness, the egg, cheese, the fattiness. But that's what you want. Yeah, you want something to get you prepared for the next bite. And something with a high acidity like Chenin Blanc, especially from the Loire Valley, really gets you going for the next bite. So we're going to move on to a New York. Wow, this is going quick. Alrighty, hot pan, he said. Look at that thing.
We're going to season this steak. Chef's special seasonings.
Chef special seasoning. What are you seasoning with, Chef?
Salt, pepper.
Yep.
And I like a little granulated garlic. It does really well for this. It's going to give it a nice crispy coat. And before I sear it, I want to rub it in there. I've got a little olive oil in there, but I want to rub it in there, kind of press it in. Smoking hot pan. You see that thing smoking? Boom. Bam. Whatever we want to say. Okay. All we're looking to get on here is thick, crispy crusts. That's going to be the deal here.
And what grade was this? You said it was a pretty...
This is a Snake River Farms Wagyu. Still more. Help if I turn the fire on. Huh? It was so hot.
Was it? Oh,
It was just smoking hot. All right, we're going to turn that.
Beautiful.
And I don't know what you guys like temperature-wise, but we're going to go with a rare, ultra rare. Okay? I'm also going to sear off some mushrooms that I have scored. I'm going to season them a little bit. I've scored them on the inside. We are going to sear them that way.
And Chef, what did you season the mushrooms with?
Olive oil, salt, and pepper.
Olive
Really
oil,
simple.
salt, and pepper.
Really simple, but I let them dredge in there for about 3 hours. So you see I got another nice crispy, almost burnt outside. It's not burnt. It's just really crisp. Make sure you're at home when you do these, you turn your fans on in your home because it's going to set off your fire alarm. So we're just trying to sear the mushrooms.
Chef, do you want to show them one of the mushrooms kind of scored?
So I've scored them. I've scored them in the middle to kind of give them that design. Just take your knife and do whatever design you want. You want to make some hula hoops in there, go ahead, do some hula hoops, jacks, whatever you want. But I've done just some crisscross stuff. Again, turning this steak. I'm going to be adding a potato puree. Very simple potato puree. All I've done is just boil them in some salted water. I rice them, added a little bit of butter, salt and pepper. Very simple. And some herbs. Cook them on the other side.
And Chef, what kind of mushrooms are you using there?
These are my Takis. You got to be careful when you're working with this type of heat. Catch on fire real quick. A lot of smoke there. Like I said, perfect timing.
Caught on fire. Pretty darn cool.
Never freak out.
Chef was actually a firefighter back in Boise, Idaho, so he knows how to extinguish. Nice. Alrighty.
All right, don't count your.
Oh, move it back, already. Beautiful.
All right, now we're going to take the steak.
All right, where are we going to hang out, Chef?
There.
Right here? Perfect.
Take a little butter. Turn our mushrooms down. We're going to let our butter kind of caramelize in there. A little bit of thyme. rosemary. We need more butter. How's that pasta, Noel? Good?
All righty, back to
We're going
our
to baste
flow.
this steak with some butter. All right, all we're going to be doing, we've got some herbs in there, a little bit of thyme and rosemary. Got it really hot. We're just going to be cooking this thing. Giving it some flavor. Those herbs are gonna infuse into that butter, and it's also gonna brown.
Uh-oh. There we go. Sorry, it's getting a little foggy on the thing. Hello, everyone. So. Oh yeah, here. I'm gonna give it a quick wipe. Sorry, go ahead. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. Thanks, Noel.
You see how it's searing the outside of that steak? This is kind of like a brown butter infused with some thyme, rosemary. All we're gonna do is kind of get some flavor into that outside. Okay. And my favorite part, got some raw broccolini. We're just going to char it. I like to char a lot of things. We're going to let that cook a little bit. We got 6 minutes.
All right, we got 6 minutes.
Bust it out.
Let's do it. All right, chef's trying that broccolini. Sorry for all the movement, peeps. There we go. So chef's gonna plate it on a massive plate. All right.
I'm going to let this steak sit for a minute. Let it rest. Char this broccolini.
Now, chef, let's say our members don't have grills at home. What would you recommend to char that broccolini?
They could do it in a pan.
In pan?
They
Nice.
could do it in their pan, in their saute pan.
Saute pan?
Or in their oven.
Or in the oven.
We're going to do one little quenelle. These potato. Put one right there. Charred up broccolini.
How do you hold the pomme puree at temperature? Hey, chef, we had a question. How do you hold the puree at temperature?
I've got a hot kitchen. I've got an extremely hot kitchen. So
How would you do it at home if you weren't here?
do it in a double boiler. Double boilers with water with a bain-marie. Set your pan in that water just to temp. Set. So we're going to cut this steak nice and thick.
Oh, look at that crust.
Nice little crust there. Yeah. We're gonna do that. Now my favorite part, topping this thing off with some highly potent gorgonzola. Hell yeah. That's the way I like to think of it. I don't need a lot of sauce with this thing. This thing's gonna eat really well. Little garnish. One of the other points I like to make sure is I'm going to drizzle this steak with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. Okay? And then topping it off with some fleur de sel. And there you have it. All done. Chef's tired, working me like a horse over here. But I appreciate everybody coming tonight.
Question. Oh, what's your garnish, Chef?
What's my garnish? Just some watercress, some upland cress. It's going to add really well to that little bit of bitterness.
Put it down there. Oh, is it not lit up here?
A little bit of bitterness, creamy, crusty, charred, creamy. Going to go really well together.
That looks awesome. And I know you're all tired of hearing of me. Spare it with the cab. You'll be fine. That looks awesome. Dude, that is a good crust.